On tonight's CTV News, the Prime Minister is in town to open a new private health facility, drones are being utilised to assist the recovery, and today marks the 50th anniversary of an important landmark. This is CTV News, I'm Grant Mangan. A local community board has been making a decision about the future of its community centre. The Riccarton Community Board are putting forward a resolution to the council about what they'd like to see happen to the building.
The Riccarton Community Centre has been the hub of its local community for years. Currently it houses the local library, but decisions are up in the air about its future.
So the option, as I see it, for the community here is that there is a building here. Most of the value for this building is in the land. So actually we have the opportunity to build something way more friendly for the community in Riccarton, or to repair this building, some of which is at 2% and some of which is at 5% of code.
The building was originally built in 1940, with 3 additions over the next 40 years. Now only half of the building is operational. The original 1940 and the addition in 1960 stand below 2% of the building code.
The public virtually wanted, the ones that were here today, wanted to look at seriously about getting this hall being able to be occupied for a period of time, because it's already been out of service for 3 years, and they're worried about if it's another 2 years before, or up to 2 years, or maybe even 3 years before another one's built, that would be 6 years without a community facility in the area.
Heated debate surrounded the table at the Riccarton Community Board meeting, deciding on a resolution for the future of the Riccarton Community Centre. Dozens of people from the public attended, voicing their opinion on what they'd like to see happen. 4 options were put towards the members, including fixing the current centre or rebuilding elsewhere in the area.
It was used for a real mix of uses, karate clubs, a lot of dance clubs in there, and some church groups, and yeah, just sort of large volumes of people, and that need that open space to, you know, to do their activities, and that's gone now.
But the building is set on prime land, in the middle of Riccarton's thriving commercial area and neighbouring the Westfield Mall. Many of the board members supported an amendment to see the building repaired in the short term, while an alternative location is sought in years to come.
The main thing that came out of the meeting today was a decision to put to the community committee to consider the option of fixing this hall up to 34% in the interim as we move forward. Everybody's agreed that we move forward to a new facility and look at alternative locations, including this location, and that's where it's at this stage.
But Councillor Vicky Buck believes it's a wasted opportunity repairing the building.
Which is very unlikely to get support at the council, I would have thought, and not one that I personally support. I think if you're going to do it, you go out and find a new building or a new site, and you do what you need to do in order to create much better community facilities than we currently have in Riccarton.
The board's decision will be forwarded on to the council's community committee and then to the full council in March, who will have the final say. Emma Cropper, CTV News.
Despite investing more than $1 billion into Christchurch's public health care, Prime Minister John Key is in full support of the latest multi-million-dollar private hospital to open in the city. CTV was there when he opened the building.
Suited up and ready to operate, the Prime Minister donning a special outfit for the opening of the country's newest private hospital today. Despite spending $650 million on rebuilding Christchurch Central and Burwood public hospitals, the Prime Minister was quick to applaud the private sector for this new hospital.
For every person that ultimately pays their premiums, come along to Forte Health and has their operation undertaken, bluntly it's one less that the public sector actually has to pay for.
The 3-storey Forte Health is a specialist short-stay hospital owned entirely by surgeons. The city's urologists are all shareholders, along with half of its orthopaedic surgeons. The hospital has had an $18 million fit-out and has been accepting patients since late January. It features 4 operating theatres, 14 overnight beds and 7 recovery recliners. Waistcoated doormen greet patients as soon as the doors open. No expense has been spared. This is more of a luxury hotel than a hospital. The hospital is designed to relax patients and to help them recover after surgery in both comfort and style. It targets the largest volume of surgery in the private market. There's a short stay, less complex procedures. 30% of the country has private healthcare insurance. The Prime Minister is confident those New Zealanders will be travelling to Christchurch for their treatment at Forte Health.
It's a really critical and integral part of the overall health offering.
He says it's important the government and this hospital work together
to see how we can engage, have contracts with the private sector, make sure that we give people the services that they want without duplicating that core infrastructure.
The Prime Minister says $14.7 billion was spent on healthcare in the last financial year, the biggest spending item, and it's on top of New Zealanders' wish lists. Forte is Christchurch's third private hospital. It will compete against St George's and Southern Cross. Management says it's restoring competition in the private market. But a question has to be asked. Why is Christchurch's first hospital following the earthquakes not in the health precinct as outlined in the government's blueprint for the central city? Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
Improvements have been made, but the Earthquake Commission still has a large backlog of Official Information Act requests. However, EQC is promising to clear all requests by April.
A damning report into EQC and its failures to clear Official Information Act requests was released late last year, spurring the Earthquake Commission to fix its system. The Chief Ombudsman is applauding EQC now for improvements made since then, but the backlog of requests is still vast. Since January 2012, EQC has received more than 6,500 OIA requests. In the 3 years before September 2010, it received just 27. The Christchurch Press has reported Chief Ombudsman Dame Beverly Wakeham saying that ever since the earthquakes, EQC has been playing catch-up to OIA requests, with a current backlog of 800. She says EQC was on track to clear the backlog and new requests were being responded to within the required time frame. The Human Rights Commission has investigated the delays, finding people's basic rights to access information has been violated. A Christchurch advocacy group has been waiting more than 200 working days for a response to requests filed last May. This breaches the law requiring a response to an OIA to be provided within 20 working days. The Earthquake Recovery Minister Jerry Brownlee has told the press an OIA request by Labour, EQC spokesman Clayton Cosgrove and earthquake advocacy group We Can required a lot of information to be collated. EQC has told the group the request, featuring 83 different questions, would cost $24,000 to complete.
Community groups fear for a growing number of teens sleeping rough. The Christchurch Press highlighted the case of 16-year-old Zach this morning. Young Zach has been virtually homeless since he was 15 and has spent months shuffling between different cities and couches. Presbyterian Support Family Works team leader Heather Batten told the Press there were many more teens like Zach sleeping rough in Christchurch. There have been about 300 clients using the Family Works youth service since it was set up in 2012. Batten says family breakups, drug and alcohol abuse within families and domestic and gang violence is affecting teenagers, forcing them to leave home. Due to a rental shortage, there's also a rise in couch surfing. She says some night shelters have lowered their age limit to allow young men, but the other alternative has been for them to sleep in a place like a park. After a public backlash, the heritage-listed public trust office in Christchurch's CBD won't be demolished under the SIR Act.
Christchurch businessman Ben Goff wanted to knock this building down. Last November, he applied to CIRA for a Section 38 notice to demolish the Oxford Terrace building. But a public backlash involving the New Zealand Heritage Places Trust ensued. Now the press is reporting CIRA Chief Executive Roger Sutton is saying the application has been declined as it doesn't meet the Act's criteria. The owners could still try to use the Resource Management Act to demolish the building. Ben Goff has been reported saying demolishing the building was a difficult decision to make, but the safety of the building, tenants' requirements and the cost of bringing the building up to new standards meant demolition was the best option. A former tenant says the building was cold and dated inside. He's told media that it's past its time. Until now, CIRA's issued nearly 1,000 Section 38 notices. 5 applications for a notice have been declined. Heritage advocate Anna Crichton's praising CIRA for declining the application. She says had they approved it, the decision would have made a mockery of the CIRA Act.
Littleton Tunnel is celebrating its 50th anniversary today without any fanfare. The well-known Christchurch landmark was opened on February 27, 1964, more than 110 years after the idea was first mooted. When the tunnel opened, it was hailed as the new gateway through the Port Hills, removing a barrier to public transport. Up until 1964, the route between Littleton and Christchurch was connected by a zigzag path, that was the bridle path over the hills, or a tortuous hilly road over to Sumner. The tunnel cost $2.7 million and was regarded amongst the most modern in the world at the time and still remains New Zealand's longest road tunnel. The opening of the tunnel reduced the distance between Littleton and the city by 8 kilometres, which opened up a new era for Christchurch, Canterbury and its industries. Following the earthquake, the tunnel is the only direct route for port traffic, carrying more than 9,614 vehicles a day, 1,500 of which are trucks, making the tunnel a critical lifeline for the South Island and an important access route for Littleton residents. Plans to celebrate the anniversary will be finalised in the next few months. Well, coming up, aerial drones are being used for the rebuild.
Drive It takes us on a ride to showcase the new arrivals to the motoring sphere, comparing and testing the latest models to discover the best. Drive It, Sunday afternoons at 12:30, right here on CTV.
My son's helped me greatly with my independence now that I've got more mobility.
Mum, I've been looking into stand assist chairs from More Mobility. They recline back with a footrest, then when you want to get out of them, they stand you up. You can even sleep on them. More Mobility can bring one out for a free trial. There's even electric beds too. What do you think? For more range and more expert advice, see More Mobility, corner Clarence and Princess Streets off Blenheim Road.
What a difference More Mobility makes.
Hi, I'm Caitlin, the naturopath here at Staywell Pharmacy. Working with the pharmacist, I use herbal and nutritional medicine to recommend natural alternatives for your health. This can be to counteract any side effects of your medication, general health advice, or natural options for you and your family. I'm also available for consultations. So come in and see us at Staywell Pharmacy, 27 Shands Road, Hornby. Staywell Pharmacy, live well, stay well.
Avoid the cowboys when it comes to relocating. Trust A1 Movers, a family business since 1993 that guarantees a professional job every time. We carefully handle and wrap your valued items, ensuring they have a safe journey. Secure storage and insurance options also available.
A1 Movers, the careful, caring, moving company.
Join us tonight at 6 for DW World News. Informative, lively, international news, breaking stories and global developments. DW News, weekdays at 6 p.m, right here on CTV.
A state-of-the-art unmanned aerial drone is being used by the University of Canterbury to provide video footage of earthquake-damaged homes along clifftop edges in the Port Hills.
Consulting firm Riccarton have been using the quadcopter on behalf of the Canterbury Earthquake Recovery Authority. Flights have been focusing on the damaged houses, where it's too dangerous for people to inspect from the ground. It gives Riccarton engineers a chance to obtain a better picture of the damage and condition of the hill suburb. This enables the engineers to develop a plan for demolition and slope stabilisation. The Christchurch City Council has also hired Riccarton to fly the quadcopter inside Moabone Cave to determine the extent of the damage. It's also been used to map the Greendale fault line from the air. This was done in the Canterbury foothills. More flights are planned for this, as the research is still not complete. Visiting international students will also have the opportunity to use the imagery as part of their own research projects this year. The roving quadcopter has even been used as far south as the Antarctic, flying around Scott Base, demonstrating its capabilities to Antarctica, New Zealand and the US Antarctic program. It was the first quadcopter to be used for science in the icy continent. Later this year, the quadcopter will be flying up to the Fox Glacier to undertake some imaging work of the glacier moraine.
A private developer has helped fund new on and off ramps for Christchurch's northern motorway at Lineside Road. Marcus Gibbs investigates.
Christchurch's new northern motorway off-ramps opened today, costing $4.6 million. Planning started more than 5 years ago, and extra funding has fast-tracked the project. The bulk was funded by the New Zealand Transport Agency, with $500,000 coming from the Waimakariri District Council, but a further $500,000 was funded by a private development company, Clampett Investments.
Without their funding, it would have been a longer time frame before we could have got onto the work.
This isn't the first time a private company has funded highway improvements throughout Canterbury.
Well, I think they're looking at the opportunity having better access to and from Kaipoi, and also for Rangiora residents would have to land that they own nearby, so I guess it helps open up some of their development opportunities sooner as well.
The New Zealand Transport Agency had no qualms with accepting the extra funding from a private company.
The agency is delighted to be able to work with Waimakariri District and Clampett Investments to bring this development forward and add another asset to the citizens of North Canterbury.
As well as benefiting Clampett Investments, the new interchange improvements will provide easy access to and from Kaipoi and help reduce the number of traffic movements at Pine Acres. Vehicles travelling north have to cross in front of high volumes of oncoming traffic, travelling at speeds of 100 kilometres an hour. A population increase out that way means more people are on the roads. The hope is the new interchange will benefit local retailers.
Because it'll be easier for people heading both from the north and south to gain access, particularly those coming from the north, because this access line-side road more or less feeds directly into the town centre, so that's going to make Kaipoi much more attractive.
But will this new interchange urge other developers to approach the NZTA, offering assistance with funding for their own projects? Time will tell. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
The hospitality industry has been picking up after the earthquakes, but not everyone in the city is happy with the city's nightlife.
The battle is on between a local restaurant and the neighbouring residents. The Harlequin Public House has been forced into a liquor licence hearing. Just metres away from the restaurant stands the Metro Apartments, who have objected their bid for a permanent licence. But the owner of Harlequin Public House is hoping to settle the dispute without that happening.
We would just like to come to an agreement with our neighbours and everyone in the area that we can all just get along, and it's just proving to be a bit difficult when some of them won't talk to us about things, and we can't seem to, as much as we try, to come to a point where there is some common ground, which is really what we want.
The neighbours have been complaining about the noise from the Sunday afternoon live music sessions and the smell from the spit roast.
We by no means are trying to offend anyone or upset anyone or going out of our way to cause hurt or pain to anyone that lives in the central city. We just want to be part of a vibrant central city.
But one resident has come to their defence. Local councillor Jamie Goff lives in the Metro Apartments and doesn't understand what the complaints are about.
I've never heard any noise there at all. It's not a nightclub, it's a fine dining restaurant. It's a fine dining restaurant that people come to and they enjoy. It's of really high calibre, and we've got one of the best chefs and best restaurateurs in Christchurch that's put his money where his mouth is. I hate to think how much money they've put into it, but what I love is they've backed Christchurch, they've backed the central city, they've backed a heritage building, and they're creating stuff here and they're building back things that were better than what was there before, and that's what the rebuild's about. So I don't want to see that stifled.
The hearing between the two partners is set to take place on March 19th. Emma Cropper, CTV News.
The Selwyn District Council will record a healthy surplus this year due to heavy investment in the area. The council had originally predicted a multi-million-dollar deficit, but its 6-month financial statement reported a $2.56 million surplus instead of the $5.61 million loss expected. The council's chief executive was conservatively predicting it would achieve a $2 million to $3 million surplus at the end of the financial year in June. The strong position is reflective of the growth in both the residential and the commercial areas. The council had previously forecast a 6% rates rise. Still to come, the business, traffic and weather updates.
Take a multi-dimensional look at the unique facets of European culture, fashion, film, music, art, and everything in between. Euromax, every weekday at 8 a.m, right here on CTV.
Just 20 minutes drive from Christchurch and nestled in the tranquil surroundings of Littleton Harbour is Canterbury's best kept treasure, Living Springs. The perfect setting for large or small conference groups, team building and development, weddings and special events. With accommodation and catering options available, our facilities and recreational activities are ideal for any occasion. Enjoy the breathtaking scenery and leave feeling revitalised.
Hey, what's up with you? Oh, I've got birthdays coming up, I've got bills coming out of my ears, I just don't have the money. Well, why don't you just go to the pawn shop?
Yes, the pawn shop has a massive selection of rings, watches, car audio, sports gear, heaps of DVDs, digital cameras, computers and musical instruments. They have just about everything.
Sounds good to me. Let's go.
Everything's as good as gold at the pawn shop. 77 Ferry Road and 396 Blenheim Road.
If you're looking for a great quality car, look no further than Wheeler Motor Company. Based in Christchurch, they are known for their exceptional service and great value over 30 years. With around 150 cars to choose from, you can rest easy that Wheeler Motor Company will find the perfect car to suit your needs. So drop in and see Nick Wheeler and the team at 171 Morehouse Ave, or jump online at wheelermotors.co.nz.
Hi, Tony Todd from Todds of Ashburton, maintaining the essence of tradition while keeping in style with today. At Todds, we do our best to meet customer demands and offer quality fashion with friendly service. Our brands are amongst the best. Catering to both men and women, we can have you looking your finest from top to toe. For our full list of brands and products, view our latest up-to-date catalogue at todds.co.nz.
Europe in concert. A new, fantastic international artist performing every week. Saturday evening at 7 p.m, right here on CTV.
Here's Warren Head with the weekly business roundup.
Hi, I'm Warren Head from headliner.co.nz. Well, we have been in the second week of what we call the annual company reporting season. In fact, it's for the half-year results, usually through to the end of 2013. And what relevance does that have to you? Well, I guess the interesting development of the week is that the energy companies have been reporting. The Mighty River Power, in particular, a lot of interest in that company, came up with a really healthy result, despite the very quiet period since the company floated last year to the public. But it also had a good result in the context of the hydro lakes being about a third lower in their part of the country. So that set the background for the Genesis initial public offer coming up from Treasury, and the government there will be selling off anywhere from 35% to about 49% of the company. It will always hold 51%. So this is a very politically charged float, you might say, because the Crown's getting it out of the way now, well before the elections. What does this company own? Well, in our part of the world, it owns the Tekapo hydro lakes, which you pass when you're heading down south on the back road, and it owns wind farms. And interestingly, it also owns about a good third of the Kupe offshore oil and gas field, where there's new drilling underway, and hopefully will prove up more reserves there. They'll be hoping. But this is the biggest retail energy stock in the country. 650,000 people take their energy from this business, and I would say that half of you sitting at home will end up owning shares one way or another, even if you don't subscribe to the public share offer, which will be at a price set firstly by the institutions in a turnaround from how they did the last two energy floats. But this is a big Kiwi saver issue. The big funds will buy up this company in droves, and about half the country owns KiwiSaver. So one way or another, it does have some relevancy. I guess a lot of people who work in the airline business around Christchurch International Airport would have been interested in today's fantastic result from Air New Zealand. Of course, the background to that is that the company has been saving costs, and there have been very heavy redundancies throughout cabin crew and in other third-party areas, affecting engineering in particular, which has been relatively good all the way through the past year. But cargo has been very flat for them. But the business is showing the benefit now of those new aircraft coming through and setting itself for the future with that new Dreamliner aircraft I mentioned on previous programs still to turn up on the tarmac for Air New Zealand. The other result that caught my eye was, well, news that caught my eye was Bathurst Resources in Westport. They're going to run on the 3 small operating mines they have there, which will keep, as I said, the local dairies open and busy, but it won't satisfy anybody in that area. In fact, the mayor over there is incensed at the damage and the cost done to this particular company by years of legal wrangling to get that new mine at the top of Denniston open. They've put that on hold pending an improvement in the international coal price. We're watching that one with some interest in months ahead. I'm Warren Head for headliner.co.nz.
If you're driving around the central city, CTV's traffic update will assist you navigating the repairs taking place.
Hello travellers, to help you plan your journey around the central city, here's an update on major roadworks when travelling south that may affect your journey times. From Friday, Barbados Street between St Asaph Street and Morehouse Avenue will be reduced to 1 lane. Durham Street North works continue with lane drops extending from Peacock Street to Salisbury Street. When travelling south, Manchester Street or Fitzgerald Avenue will be your best routes during peak hours. As always, keep up to date by watching CTV News first at 5 to get the latest information, or check the Transport for Christchurch website.
And finally tonight, here's our regional weather.
Kia ora everyone. A northwesterly airflow is slowly increasing today ahead of a cold front due around the middle of the day tomorrow. Let's take a look at the weather in your area. Kaikoura, fine with mild northwesterlies during the morning, but rainy with colder southwesterly winds gusting during the afternoon. Tonight you can expect a low of 16 degrees and tomorrow a high of 23. Hanma, a rainy cold southwesterly change will be developing early afternoon. Tonight you'll receive a low of 14 degrees and tomorrow expect a high of 21. You can enjoy your Friday morning in North Canterbury with high cloud and mild northerly winds, but take care in the afternoon with colder blustery southwesterlies and rain developing. Tonight's low of 16 degrees, tomorrow a high of 23. Christchurch, a fine and mild Friday morning in store, but take the umbrella because the afternoon gets cold and wet with southwesterlies arriving. Ashburton, fine with mild northwesterlies during the morning, but rainy with colder southwesterly winds gusting during the afternoon. You can expect a low of 16 degrees tonight, while tomorrow a high of 23. Timaru, warm tonight and at first tomorrow, but colder southwesterlies developing late morning with some rain. Tonight you can expect a low of 16 degrees and tomorrow a high of 22. In other areas now, Culverden, Darfield, Methven and Leeston, you can expect a warm 23 degrees. Akaroa will be on 24, while Arthur's Pass on 16. Looking ahead for Canterbury, morning cloud breaking and sunny periods increasing on Saturday with fresh cold southwesterlies easing during the day. Cold on Saturday night with ground frost possible. Fine and milder on Sunday with moderate northerly winds and some high cloud. A period of colder southwesterlies and showers developing later at night. And that's your weather for Friday. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
That's CTV News for Thursday. I'm Grant Mangan. Good night.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.